I grew up on a farm just outside of Eckville, so and it's lovely. It's like it's a little piece of paradise.
And
Yeah.
why did you want to get off the farm and become an actor?
I That's a good question. I don't know where it came from. I think it like there was something different about all of us kids, me and my siblings. We grew up on the farm, but we didn't have any. There was no like we. I didn't know any actors. My brother works in radio as well,
Hmm.
and my other brother he works in visual effects and film and TV, and my sister's a dancer. So we all like chose these creative pathways, and I don't know why. I think we all just felt a little bit different, and none of us felt like we fit into kind of the mold of a lot of people in the Eckville area who
Hmm.
like go into a trade, work in the oil patch. That just wasn't for us, I guess.
Was there a moment where you said to yourself, "Ah, this looks appealing to me"? Either when you saw Brando, Streetcar Named Desire, or you saw somebody on stage, for example.
I loved watching Whose Line Is It Anyway
Oh,
as a young person, and that was a big inspiration for me. And then the church that I grew up in, our youth pastor would do theater sports on her like youth nights, and I just loved doing that. And then watching my older brothers, they would always make little home movies with their friends. So I was inspired by my brothers as well. I don't know if there was a specific moment. It just didn't seem possible. I'd like heard about people who were in the industry, and I think I just like had to wait until I could experience it myself and like move out of move out of my parents' place. And I moved to Calgary. That was the first place I moved to, and just like started seeing theater and got an agent. And I think it probably wasn't until I moved out that I realized it could even be possible.
I'm just wondering. So you've accomplished a lot in your career. You've done quite a bit of work, as you said, most recently with Theatre Calgary, and nice to be back home. And now you're in this amazing television series with Lily Gladstone, Oscar nominee, of course, of Killers of the Flower Moon. Under the Bridge is the name of the series. It's on Hulu. So have you ever stopped to watch yourself?
Like, do I ever like sit down and watch myself on
Yeah, does it
TV on
seem? Does
TV?
it and does the whole thing seem kind of surreal?
It's always like a bit of a delight to watch it because there's the experience of making a film production or a TV production, and then there's the experience of like watching it and seeing all of the creative elements come together. So it's always a delight. I'm always like surprised, I guess, to see how it all turns out. And then also it's like, yeah, you have to just being part of the business, I have to watch myself and then try to find clips to add to like demo reels and stuff like that, or to try to get the next job. It's more surreal sometimes being on set, I think,
Mm.
and having that experience of working with some people that you really look up to, and then in the case of like being in back in Calgary at Theatre Calgary, that was always like it seemed impossible to ever get on the Theatre Calgary stage when I was living in Calgary like 11 years ago. So that was surreal to be like back in this place where I started and then see it all come full circle. But I just remember like being that younger actor in Calgary, and it just seemed like there's so many obstacles. And I remember uh, numerous times when I first starting out thinking that I should just quit and do something else, go back to my plan B. So it is. I mean, it's a long and slow and arduous process, but it is. Yeah, when you kind of like hit those milestones and then take a look back to see, oh, this was a goal that I had, or this was a dream that I had like 10 years ago, and now I'm here. But it's always also like important to recognize that the goalposts always move. Like as soon as I'm in, yeah, as soon as I've achieved something, there's always more to try to to try to achieve. So I think it's important to like have those self-affirming moments to be like, oh no, this was something that I wanted, and now I'm here, and just to not to take that for granted and to try to be grateful for.
Wise words, not to take it for granted. So, what would you like to do in a perfect world if you could paint an ideal picture of the future?
Yeah, moving out to Vancouver was kind of step one after getting started in Calgary. I think it's still just that mindset of expansion. I'm working towards getting being able to work in the US.
Hmm.
So it's just yeah, it's just kind of like one step at a time. Los Angeles is still like the center of where, film and TV production happens. So yeah, that's been calling my name for sure for a while.
I'm going to cycle back to CKUA just for a second because you actually reached out to us. Can you tell us why?
I have okay, so like talking about like what your goals are and stuff like that. This was actually something that I'd written down. I was like, I'd love to do an interview on CKUA, and here we are. Um,
But why?
so, but why? I CKUA has always been like, it's always been in, I guess, the zeitgeist and around our family. And it's always been like the radio station that was like different but cool. And that, like especially growing older and like moving away from Alberta, I realize how much miss a lot of things about Alberta. And anytime I get to listen to CKUA, it always just feels like a bit of home. And it's just such good radio. I love listening to it. The programming is always so good, and the music, it's always surprising and delightful and so varied. Yeah, it's just my favorite radio stations. Like one of those little dreams that I'd love to, yeah, have a conversation on CKUA.